Okay, hello everyone. It is the 24th. Hope everyone's been staying warm the past couple of days. There's actually one good thing about the cold weather, and that was no shootings in any of the five boroughs. Believe it or not, nobody seemed to be trigger happy during this cold spell that we've been in, but the streak ended, and we're going to get into that, which I was going to lead off with that, but we actually have a more serious thing that happened in Flushing this morning. We had an e-bike fire. Yep, we had an e-bike fire, and also we're going to quickly touch up on a subway surfing incident that did occur a couple days ago in the Bronx, so we're going to discuss that in this video. But first up is that time again to call out the media. So this morning we had an urgent 1075 call in Flushing involving e-scooters on fire at a private dwelling. And unfortunately, guess what? No mention of it in the Queen's Courier this morning. You literally can, you would think the Queen's Courier would have it on their front page. And I even checked the police and fire section right here. Nothing on it. Really. So there actually was a shooting in St. Albans, so we'll put that tab over there and we'll touch up on that as we go along here. But we are going to get to the urgent 1075 call. Due to copyright reasons, I'm not going to play the video from Channel 7's website, but we will read the article to give you an idea of what happened here. Okay, so let's read what happened. There was a Flushing townhouse fire this morning. It injured 3 people. So according to Channel 7, they are reporting that the fire broke out near 60th Avenue and 146th Street just before 5:30 this morning. Now, to give you an idea of where this particular location is, and I can exactly give a location. So here's 59th Ave. I'm just looking it up on my Google Maps here. Yes, I'm pretty sure I saw it earlier, but if not, I can always just search for it. 60th, I can't show you on the computer right now. 60th Ave, 146th Street in Flushing. Yes, so this is literally right on top of Bonet High School. So you have Bonet High School, you have Queens College in this area, because I knew this was right by Main Street. I knew this sounded familiar to me, because I was like, wait a minute, this had to have been close to where the old diner was, because I was like, I know this area very well, because we used to go to the diner in that area before it closed a long time ago. So get this, because of the cold weather, firefighters encountered frozen fire hydrants, so they had to run water lines from neighboring blocks. So, Chief Christopher Pacioli, Division 14 of the FDNY, said to Channel 7, the first companies got there and they had heavy fire coming out the first floor. When they stretched the hose, they had a frozen hydrant in front of the building, so they had to go up and find another hydrant up the road. So there was a delay in the water. We had water in the fire engine, the booster, so they were able to use that water until the chauffeur was able to secure a working hydrant that was further up the block. So it said that engine 273 was faced with heavy fire down the first floor of this house. They put a lot of fire down there. So there you go. So yes, this was the urgent 1075 call, which was the box 9485 per NYC Firewire on Twitter X. So the exact location of this house is 142-33 60th Avenue. So let me see if I can actually pull it up as we go along here. So here is where the townhouse was. So we'll quickly get a street view from what it looked like before the fire. And yeah, very dangerous to be leaving all those e-scooters around. This is why, again, people have got to stop being reckless with them. It's just, let's see, do we have a picture of the fire? Yes, we do. Okay. Because it looked like John Del Giorno was flying over this morning. So The 1075 call was sent out at 5:30 this morning, from what I'm seeing on my phone. It said here that 2 residents of a neighboring home were treated for serious injuries to smoke. A 3rd resident slipped and fell while evacuating the street. So I'm thinking, given the close proximity to Booth Memorial Medical, I'm thinking they were probably taken over there, because if it was an urgent situation, wouldn't they go over to Booth? Because I'm sorry, I can't call it New York Hospital Queens. I can't call it Presbyterian. I'm always going to call it Booth. I used to work for NYHQ, but again, it's still going to be Booth Memorial Medical Center to me. Just saying, because I'm a local of this area. Okay, Ladder Company 129 had 2 victims coming out the rear of the exposure with smoke inhalation. The company put out the fire, and then they saw it was multiple e-bikes and lithium ion that had been set on fire. 6 e-bikes were found in the basement along with parts and tools, indications of a possible e-bike repair operation. It is unclear if the e-bikes and lithium ion batteries played any role in the fire. It's most likely they did. It's most likely they did. But yeah, again, very scary. And again, people, again, have to really be careful of their e-bikes. Let me see if I can just... I'm not going to play the audio, because if I play the audio, I'll get claimed for copyright. So let's see. Yeah, see, there it is. That's when the fire was happening this morning. So you see the firefighters just there, trying to get in. Yep. So... definitely alarming. I would have to think my engine probably had to respond to this, because I'm thinking engine 299 had to get called in. So I'm thinking this had to be a multi-alarm called. All right, well, let's move on to our next story. So let's talk about something shocking that has actually happened here in the Big Apple, and that is because of this cold weather. There was 5 straight days of no shootings. Believe it or not, no shootings in any of the 5 boroughs. Which is shocking. Which is very shocking, because I was wondering the past couple of days, why haven't there been any noticeable shootings? Why haven't there been this and that? Also, keep this in mind. We did have a snowstorm. So, the 3 to 4 inches that fell in New York City may have had something to do with the possible trigger-happy people leaving their guns at home. So, according to the NYPD, there was a 5-day streak without a single shooting victim in New York City. This was the first time since 1995 that this occurred. So look at that, 30 years. 30 years that we've not had a shooting for 5 straight days, and somehow, yep. There was a shooting yesterday. 34-year-old man was shot and twice in the legs. 690 Pennsylvania Avenue in Brooklyn, East New York. This was an argument over a car crash. Okay. 3 hours later, 1 a.m., 17-year-old was shot on Watson Avenue in the Bronx. The teen suffered a gunshot wound to the leg. Police are searching for 2 suspects who were wearing a black clothing with blue mask. So again, look at that. I want to give people credit. I mean, with it being so cold, and again, given that it did snow, it may have had something to do with the weather. It's very possible. Now, unfortunately, and again, given that the weather is going to be back to being seasonable, and yeah, we're about a month away from springing the clocks forward for daylight savings. Don't be surprised if you hear about shootings in the Bronx picking up, or in Brooklyn, because that's where they tend to normally happen. Because there was a shooting in Brooklyn that got profiled a couple weeks ago, where a Dower van driver was getting into a dispute on a Sunday. So, yeah, I don't want to talk about old news, please. We're just going to focus on the here and now. So I have 2 more trigger-happy incidents that we are going to get into. So there were shots fired outside of the 116th station on Lexington Avenue yesterday afternoon in Harlem. So it looks like that a gunman was firing shots in this area yesterday afternoon. Gunman may have ran into the subway and 116th Street subway station. There were 4 shell casings that were recovered near East 116th Street and Lexington Avenue. So this occurred, very busy time of the day when this area gets crowded, 5 p.m. So there you have it. And apparently, before the streak began, we actually had a shooting that occurred on January 18th in St. Albans, which was ignored by the media. Because again, this is how media bias works in the age of Trump. I know, I don't want to make it political, but that's the way things work, unfortunately. Okay, so this shooting occurred at 6 p.m. January 18th. This was a fatal shooting involving a 51-year-old man, so this was a homicide. The victim, Sherman Walker of Francis Lewis Boulevard, was shot multiple times at the corner of 204th Street and Murdoch Avenue at 6 p.m. on January 18th. Officers from the 113th Precinct responded to a 911 call of a person shot and found Walker with gunshot wounds to his neck, abdomen, and left leg. EMS rushed him to NYC Health Jamaica Hospital, where he was pronounced dead a short time later at the trauma center. It was the 113th Precinct's first homicide of calendar year 2025. The command had 7 homicides in 2024, according to CompStats. So far, no arrest, ongoing investigation. So yeah, this was before that streak. So think about it. It was, I think, 5 straight days that began on the 19th. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. So I think if I'm correct, I think this was the last shooting that occurred before the 5-day streak began. So there you go, because I was trying to think what was the most recent shooting, and it happened to be in St. Albans. Why aren't I surprised? Alright, we're just going to quickly get to our last story, because I think I've already made this video way too long. Okay, let's talk about the latest subway surfing incident that occurred in the Bronx. So it involved a 15-year-old boy. So this happened on Tuesday, January 21st. He fell from a train car while subway surfing, according to NYPD. The teen plunged from a northbound 5 train around 6 p.m. as the train was traveling between the Gun Hill Road and Pelham Parkway stations. He suffered a head injury in the fall, but survived and was taken conscious and alert to NYC Health Jacoby Hospital. The teen was with a group of friends at the time, but he was subway surfing by himself. Service on the 5 line was disrupted for about 2 hours as emergency personnel responded. So there we go. So this was chaotic on... I think the 2 line was also impacted. So there you go. Yeah, everybody knows when I was on Pix 11 talking about it last year. Ugh. I mean, trust me, every time I've been on the 7 train in the past year, I'm sorry, but when that girl makes that announcement, it just drives me fucking crazy. Especially when we're leaving Flushing Main Street and we're going right to Metz Willets Point. And guess what? I'm probably going to have to hear that announcement likely in April when I go to the Macy's Flower Show. That's just lovely. Because I'm assuming that's the next time I'm probably going to be back on the subway. So let's read this quickly here. Subway surfing deaths were up last year with 6 people killed, including 2 teens in 1 week in late October. So there you have it. Okay, that's going to wrap up the video. I do want to end on one quick note. If you've been paying attention to New York 1, I have to do it because thankfully you don't. Recently, I want to call out Pat Kiernan. Where is Pat Kiernan, you may be wondering? He decided to take another vacation. And I want to mention, yesterday, Rocco was doing the news. And Rocco's voice didn't sound so good. And supposedly tomorrow and Sunday, he's supposed to anchor the morning news for the weekend. Let's find out when Pat Kiernan was last on New York 1, shall we? Dun, 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 dun. We have our answer. Pat Kiernan recently was back doing the news on January 15th. So Pat Kiernan's been missing now for a whole week. I mean, how often does this guy take a vacation? How often does he take a vacation? I mean, Spectrum should be ashamed of themselves. You know, they really should. Because I just quickly wanted to end the video on a criticizing note. I know I hate to do it. I know Big Slime, one of my followers, was asking me to talk about Pat Kiernan. So, Slime, there's your answer. I hope I gave you some clarity. So I know he's going to be watching this video. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Max harassment. I mean, the state budget, trust me, we're going to have to talk about the state budget in a separate video. Because when we get to April, we're going to have to do a video on that. Because the budget in New York is completely overinflated. Florida, for an example, they have less money, and yet they're able to provide services. It's a mess. It's just is. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching this video. And just be grateful that it's going to try to get a little bit warmer, but I think next week it's going to get cold. So just try to stay warm if you're going outside this weekend. So take care.